Hi. Now the student visa season is going to be starting now. So students would have started looking for the admissions abroad, especially if we talk about the US. What I see the changes that are happening in the new administration and what I read is that students this time should start looking for universities which would have good reputation. And in order to get a good university, the first thing you need to always remember is what are your career objectives. So if you start looking at the at your path, you should start looking at your end goal, which is going to be your career. So if you want to be a, let's say, a computer professional in the field of cybersecurity or artificial intelligence, and if you see that you want to come back to India and work for organizations like Yahoo, Microsoft, Google, or Zepto, any country, any company as such, then you should start looking at programs which would really match up those requirements. So the skills improvement or skills development in that particular field would be really important. If you look at your journey backwards, then eventually your visa also would get easier to crack. So, what I'm trying to say is when you shortlist your universities, you should not only look at the reputation of the university or the area where the university is located, but primarily start focusing on your subject because the career goal should be the prime focus of each student going to the US. Let's assume that somebody wants to be a cybersecurity specialist, so they should start looking at programs that would match up those requirements, and then start looking at the universities, and out of those universities which are shortlisted, then start looking at the reputation of the university, the ranking of the university. Because what I see is that the H1 should also be in sync with what you study here. Look at the future, look at what the requirements are going to be in the future for these companies. They're looking at artificial intelligence, they're looking at machine learning, they're looking at, of course, cybersecurity, they're looking at how to create more firewalls. E-commerce is really picking up. So look at your career objectives very clearly when choosing a particular college. And once you start looking at the particular college, then you need to figure out what are the requirements of that particular college. So there's a huge difference between the financial papers that you send for your university and the documents that would eventually be required for your visa interview. So for the admission offer, you need to have a bank balance certificate. So the process goes, look at your end goal first, right? Then start looking at the universities. Then once you start looking at the universities, have a short list of universities that would really, really match up your requirements, right? And then look at those areas. Do not concentrate and focus on a particular area in the US, like an East Coast or a West Coast. Don't choose universities in a bunch in California itself or in New York itself or, let's say in Texas. Have a mix of universities, have a mix of locations. Once you do that, then start looking at the ranking of the university. And once you start putting your application, you'll get the admission offer. Once you get the admission offer, then shortlist those admission offers where you want to go based on your course requirement, your career goals, then the subject that you'll go and study there, and then the reputation of the college, right? And then they would ask you to submit documents, which are going to be your financial papers, especially when you're sending documents for your admission offer for your I-20. The admission committee in the US is only looking at the availability of funds, which is going to be a bank balance certificate or a combination of the availability of funds in your parents' account and an education loan or an independent education loan. Nothing else would work, not like a fixed deposit, shares, bonds, mutual funds. All those are not going to work like a PF and all. Those would be required when you go in for your visa interview. So, step one, choose the university based on your profile, course content, curriculum. Step two is once you shortlist your universities and then start applying for those universities, have a mix of locations, right? And then when you shortlist those universities that you've offered admissions for you, then send in your financial papers. Once you send in your financial papers, then I guess by around March or April, you will start getting responses from the universities. Once you get the university offers like the I-20, only then we can start looking for applying for visas, right? The step one is going to be get your I-20. Step two for visa is going to be fill your DS 160. Now, the DS 160 is really important. That's the visa application form. DS stands for Department of State, right? So when you're applying for your visa with your I-20 and your passport, all the information should match up. and start filling your visa application form. Make sure that all the information that goes on your DS 160 is absolutely correct and authentic, because once you submit your application, the DS 160, it stays in the system for 99 years. So in the future, when you're applying for any kind of visa, like an H1, or if you are then getting your OPT or your CPT, that information should match up. And also ensure that when you fill your visa application form, save a copy for yourself. When you create your profile, remember to note down your profile details, like the login details, the password. There are going to be three security questions, so make them very easy so that you could remember, and also note them down, because once you complete that, and in the future, let's say even after 10 years or 7 years or 20 years, if you have to apply for any kind of a US visa, the same profile would work, right? So once you get the I-20, once you fill your DS-160, then you have to create your profile and pay the visa application fees, which as of now is $185. You've got to see the conversion rate. If you go on to the US Travel Docs website, they'll give you the exact amount that you need to pay. Once you pay that, it takes about 3-4 hours for the activation. Once the receipt is activated, then you can start looking for appointments. Now, for the past couple of years, we've been hearing that students are getting the visa appointments very late. However, if you look at the pattern, the embassy would usually open up the visa appointments sometime towards mid of March or end of March or beginning of April, for students going in for the for the fall session. The spring session is already over. For the fall session, which starts sometime in August and September. So do not rush, do not worry. The embassy understands that there will be a lot of students applying for the visas. They would release the appointments accordingly. All right. So keep looking for the appointments. And once you schedule the appointment, you go to schedule two appointments. One is going to be for your fingerprinting, and the other one is going to be for your consular appointment, which is the visa interview, right? For fingerprinting, you just need to carry your passport, your visa appointment letter, your DS-160 confirmation page, your I-20, and by now you should have paid your service fees, which is $350. We would also be providing you the link of the fmjfee.com, through which you have to go and pay your service fees. And so you need to carry all those documents for your fingerprinting. Once you go there, they'll take your fingerprints and they'll click a picture. So you don't have to carry a separate photograph for yourself, because the VFS would click a picture for you. And once they do that, it's a matter of about 2 to 3 minutes that they would take. It's not a long wait over there. Once you complete that process, then you have to start preparing for your visa interview, the visa documents, your financial papers, because the officers are not looking at the availability of funds. They're looking at how strong your family is here financially, right? So make sure that you carry all the financial papers of your parents, because sponsorship would really, really matter here. Even if you're getting a full scholarship, the officer's objective is to figure out that how strong your family is financially. So your tax returns of your family last 3 years, bank statements for the last 6 months, right? If they have any fixed deposits, shares, bonds, mutual funds, all of that you have to carry. You can create a little summary for yourself, which does not have to be necessarily certified by a chartered accountant. You can have it for yourself. And then, of course, your property papers, because that shows that you've got ties to your home country. Even if your documents are in regional language, that's fine. You don't have to get them translated. You don't have to get your chartered engineer to do an evaluation of the property. You can have an approximate value of the property. All those are just supporting what you are going to go and say at the visa interview. The most important thing is the interview. So start preparing for the interview. Like I said right in the beginning, if you choose a program which is relevant to your career objectives, then preparing for your visa interview becomes better, right? Because each question has a meaning. And when we talk about interviews, they're subjective. What you say, what the officer could understand, could be two different things. So remember that what you have to do is you have to connect at a level where the officer wants to understand. He does not want to listen to the answers which are cramped, which are memorized. It should be as natural as possible, because if you understand your career objective, then it gets easier. Why are you choosing this particular program? Right? If you are just cramming up those answers, the officer may ask you a question which is relevant to your career objectives, and then you would not be able to connect it. So make sure that you understand what are your career objectives. How will you achieve your career goals by studying in the US? The whole idea of the visa interview is to not only see that you're a potential immigrant, whether you'll come back or not, how do you qualify for a visa, also depends on how the program that you're going to go and study is relevant. Are you a legitimate student or not? So those are the key points that you need to remember and then start preparing for the interview. Step one is to look at your career goals and then start looking at the universities and then start creating that kind of a pool where you have a mix of universities from across the US, and then your financial papers to be sent to the university, which is going to be only your bank balance certificate or an education loan or a combination of these, right? Once you do that, once you receive your admission offer, the I-20, then you start your visa process. Fill your DS-160, create your profile, pay the visa application fees, pay the service fees, and then start preparing for your visa interview. We'll be posting more such videos for your convenience, and you can just keep following us. And also, it's very important that sometimes I see that a lot of students, they come, they like the content, but they don't comment. I would want you to comment so that your comments would help us to improve on the quality and on the material that we are posting online for your convenience. And also you can share it with your friends. Thank you very much.